A lot of people, when they have something that they don't understand about the deen or they want to learn about something, they go and search for a video online about this, find an answer for that which they want or for that which they don't understand. Then, after they find the answer from one sheikh, they find another sheikh responding to him. Then, they find another sheikh responding to him. Responding to the other sheikh who was responding. So then he's confused and he's like, what is all of this? And he leaves. And he leaves the YouTube and he doesn't get an answer for his question. A lot of people come and tell us this and they're like, just don't respond to people, bro. And they use this as a proof to tell us to not respond to people, that we should not respond to people. And so when I see this, I'm like, bro, do you even hear what you're saying? Yani, this guy who is responding to the person, he believes that that person is wrong. And as long as he responds to him with proof, he mentions ayat, he mentions ahadith, he mentions sayings of the early scholars. Khalas, then why are you mad that he's responding to him? I mean, if I know that someone is wrong, isn't it a must on me to clarify that he is wrong so I can warn people from his mistake? Or should I just leave people go and follow that guy in his mistake? It could be that, that guy, he wanted good and he just made the real mistake. It could be that guy, he just, there's the issue that he said is actually a different opinion that other scholars held, but I believe that it's wrong and I have proof that it's wrong. Or what is the worst case is that the guy is a kafir, is a jahmi, is a shi'i, is any of these who's trying to spread fitna amongst the Muslims. Now, a lot of people will say responding to people is a fitna. This is not correct. Allah Azza wa Jal said, وَالْفِتْنَةُ أَشَدُّ مِنَ الْقَتْلِ. The fitna is worse than that you kill someone. Why? Because fitna here is shirk. Al-fitna here is shirk. So shirk is worse than that you kill people. Why? Because obviously shirk is the most extreme sin. طيب Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. So because of what we mentioned, what do I understand from this? Number one, if I know that someone is wrong on an issue, we need to respond to him. I know that intro was a little wrong, was a little long, but I hope that it is clear what I mean by it. We must clarify the truth to people. The fitna is not me responding to someone because he's wrong when I have proof that he's wrong. The fitna is that you see that as a fitna. That is the real fitna. Because this is something normal, bro. And especially nowadays with the internet, ya habibi, anyone can post what they want. Some random Jew can go and say that thing so-and-so is allowed in Islam. He knows it's not allowed in Islam because he's a Jew. He doesn't care, bro. So he will do that. So you then say, oh, it's actually allowed. And, a lot of Jews or a lot of people want to destroy Islam. They act like they're Muslims so that they can destroy Islam from the inside. So, as they see it. And this is what we saw with a lot of projects that kuffar did. And a lot of these people that are making you think that music is halal, a lot of these people that are making you think that so-and-so is halal, they're not even Muslims. Yeah, I don't mean they're not even Muslims that they believe that they're Muslim, but they left Islam because of things that they said that took them outside of Islam. No, I mean, they straight out know, they're straight out, they're not Muslims aslan. They're Jews or Christians or atheists or Hindus or Buddhists. It doesn't matter what they are. What I'm trying to say is that they're not Muslims and they know that what they're saying is wrong and they're only saying it so that you fall for it and then you come and respond to us who warn people from those mistakes that others spread. Because come on, when we see that someone is spreading something that is wrong in Islam about the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal, we must respond. It's not like we're some people, they treat the deen as if we're like talking about like games or something. They come and say like, why are you responding to person so and so? Bro, maybe because he's leading people to the fire. The real one who is making a fitna here is the one who is telling me not to respond to someone who is spreading misguidance amongst people. This whole idea of let us gather on that which we agree on. We've spoken about that obviously in our series about the West. I'm not here going to speak about it in depth here. This is a short video, inshallah. But what I mean is that this is wrong to say. When you see someone respond to someone, you look who mentions proof from the Quran, who mentions proof from Sunnah, who mentions sayings of the companions of the Prophet, who mentions sayings of the students of the companions, who mentions sayings of Al-Imam Ahmad, who mentions sayings of Al-Imam Shafi'i, who mentions sayings of Al-Imam Malik. Not anyone who just comes and says, Wallahi, this hadith is weak, so that means that that music is allowed is right. And obviously, especially in this issue, he's not right. But I mean, not everyone of that type is always going to be right. The one who just says this hadith is weak, which means that even if we were to say that the hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari that music is haram is weak, which obviously it's not. I mean, the hadith is in Sahih al-Bukhari. There's nothing more to even look at. But even if we were to say that it is weak, طيب, as Ibn Hazm and Al-Ghazali said, who obviously their speech doesn't have any weight aslan in Islam because they're not from it, then some people could come and trick you and say this hadith is weak. But that doesn't mean that what is in the hadith is wrong. The hadith is weak. Even if the hadith is weak, doesn't mean that what is in it is wrong. The hadith could say something that is correct even if it's weak. This doesn't have to do anything with that. In fact, there were a lot, or not a lot, but there were some few people who would fabricate a hadith, make up a hadith to make people do certain things. As an example, there's this very famous hadith that Al-Imam al-Bukhari clarified in At-Thauri al-Kabir that it is a fabricated hadith. A lot of people think this is sahih, which is the hadith of the one who is early to the prayer on Friday and he washes himself before it and so on. The one who fabricated that hadith didn't do it so that you don't pray, but he did it so that before you pray, you wash and you put perfume and you wear your best clothes and so on. So he did it. He fabricated the hadith for good, but that still means that he's wrong. In the hadith is still fabricated. That doesn't mean that now we shouldn't be early to the prayer. That doesn't mean that now we shouldn't wash ourselves before. That doesn't mean that now we shouldn't wear our best clothes. That doesn't mean that now put perfume when we go to the prayer, of course, as men. So just because a hadith on a certain issue is weak doesn't mean that everything what that hadith contains is wrong. Because being weak is one thing and being wrong is another. طيب, what we're trying to say here is that barakallahu fikum, you need to look at the one who speaks with proof. And if you don't have knowledge, then take one sheikh, one scholar, one student of knowledge that you trust, and when you have a question, ask them. Allah Musta'an.